First of all, let me tell you something. Lamont is just full of
Sometimes my mama said, you know, when you don't have nothing nice to say, you should be quiet.
People say that Stephen A. is a coon. You agree with that? Everybody got quiet on that one? Okay, go ahead.
Rudy Giuliani practices voodoo. So he put a voodoo hex on my girl, Hillary, and that's why she got woozy. And the Secret Service had to prop her up and put her in the van.
But take us to a break, my dude.
It was voodoo, son.
I don't know about that voodoo.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Three Black Guys with a Mic. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. I am Spud along with Lamont Hayes and Maynard Scales. We are in the building. Thank you so very much for joining us for this episode. Let us know who you are, where you are from. Tap in with us and let us know how it's going down on your social media feed. If you're watching us on Facebook, share this episode with us, with your friends right now so that they can tap in as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Also subscribe so that way you can be a part of new episodes. If you want to be a part of the conversation, Maynard is putting a link to the chat down in the comments. You can also be a part of the show and make your comment. All right? All right. So let's start with Lamont has an apology. And I don't know who's he apologizing to. But, Lamont, the floor is yours. Who gets an apology?
I thought we were going for the watermelon first, no?
Oh, no, that's second. We going there. But you said you want to start it off with the watermelon. I mean, with the...
apology?
Yeah.
So, I guess we missed a week because of scheduling, but the week before last, remember we were having a discussion about the mayor and the deputy mayor. Remember that?
Detroit. So apparently,
yeah, about Detroit. I'm sorry. You know, I always think everybody knows we're talking about Detroit.
So
we had a discussion about the previous police chief, how he was the deputy mayor, and you know him having that dual role. Well, as I say all the time, you know, we never know who's listening. So I got 2 calls and a text, and I guess there were some people inside the mayor's office that decided to chastise me in a very respectful way and tell me that the information that I was spewing was incorrect. And even one of the homies from the east side called me, which I'm coming to see you, big homie. Tell Pops I'm on the way. And I'm not going to call him. I'm going to come see him. That the information I gave was a little incorrect, so I just wanted to clear that up. So in the city of Detroit, the Detroit Charter states that whomever the mayor is, they are the ones that dictate who is the deputy mayor. It could be a police chief. It could be it has to be a director's position. The director of water, the director of, I don't know, schools, whomever. And it does not come automatically with being the police chief for the city of Detroit. So it's always up to the mayor. The current mayor chose the previous chief. And I just need to make sure I clean that up. Cool?
Cool. All right.
I accept your apology, sir.
And you're
no, you know what? I don't know if that was an apology.
James Craig with Tucker Carlson.
Yo, man, dude was looking really suspect. He was looking really out of pocket. He was looking really watermelonish as we're getting ready to go into the watermelon talk.
Watermelonish. What does that mean exactly?
Mr. Spence?
Yeah, you know, you remember the frog from the WB?
Yeah, hello, my baby. Hello, my baby.
Man, you know, he looked like that. You know what I mean?
Is that a racial slur?
I don't think so.
Watermelon? Is that like a racial slur?
That's just how he looked. You know what I mean? You didn't see the smile that I put on my Facebook. I deleted it, but the way he was smiling, it had like a man tan feel. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Y'all don't remember man tan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All my time.
Yeah, it felt real man tanish. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Spence, I'd love to hear more from you. Maybe your microphone.
What's wrong with my microphone? You don't need me to turn it up? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
there
sir.
we go. There we go, Playboy.
Okay, so we were having a conversation before this show about watermelon. And this is so stupid, y'all. I mean,
how's it stupid?
And just bear with us, please. This is no show notes. This is nothing. This is off the cuff conversation of the blacks. All right.
Whoa.
What?
Why is it of the blacks?
Because we're the blacks. All right, we're 3 black guys with the mic, so we're the blacks tonight.
The blacks.
All right. How do you pick a watermelon? This is what Lamont asked. And I have been asking myself this since I was a child. All right? You know how Lamont's mom traumatized him, Maynard, as a kid with the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all this other stuff? I, myself, was traumatized as a kid about watermelon and how to pick a watermelon.
You were traumatized?
Traumatized. I'm from a very small town in Junction City, Kansas, which is right outside of Fort Riley. So my grandfather used to take me to a place called Britt's Farm. I was responsible for picking the watermelon. And you know, the old timers, there was a certain way you had to pick a watermelon. How was that exactly? You had to thump that boy to make sure that the watermelon was ripe.
But with the thump, what was it? What was the thump?
There was no such thing as a thump, is my point.
No,
Now I'm
you
trying to tell
thump
my
it. You
grandfather,
gotta.
now I'm getting chastised, beaten, ridiculed, because I am thumping a watermelon trying to see if it's hollow or if the sound is right. And I just am like, thump, 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 thump. Sound good to me. Let's go. We out. And my grandfather constantly was on me about picking a watermelon. And when we got in trouble, my grandfather would spit on his hands and smack the living daylight out of you. This is trauma. This is being traumatized as a kid.
It's not the watermelon that's traumatized you. It's getting smacked the living daylight out of you that's traumatizing.
So Lamont brings up,
that's
how do
traumatizing
you
by itself.
pick a watermelon? Friends and family and old schoolers, I don't know how you pick a watermelon by thumping it. I can't pick a watermelon. So when my wife and I go to the store and we get a watermelon, I'm like, don't ask me to pick a watermelon because I don't know how to pick a watermelon. All I know is the boy is round, it looks good, let's go. So would you guys like to explain to me how you pick a watermelon? Because thumping it is not the way.
So Maynard, I got a couple of, because I always had a love. No, I had a hate thing with watermelon. And a couple of years ago, I was watching a interview with Ryan Coogler. Am I pronouncing it correctly, Maynard?
That's correct.
That's homeboy who did the Black Panther. And he said something to me that triggered my thought process of eating watermelon again. Because when my mother had me in her stomach, that's all she ate. So all through my childhood, I would never want watermelon. And then when I got older and I saw how watermelon was a symbol of something that was not true. And here's what Ryan Coogler said. He said when he went to Africa, is when he really had a full understanding of watermelon, of what it is. It's the number one fruit on the planet that hydrates you. He talked about all of these other. He said you should actually eat a watermelon before you drink water. He said because there's a lot of water you can drink that won't hydrate you that the watermelon will. And all these other benefits of watermelon. I was like, you know what? And not to throw Spud's business in the street, but before we started, man, what was Spud doing? He was eating fruit.
No.
Right? So I said to myself, instead of these hot wings over here I'm getting ready to demolish when we get done, I'm going to make sure that I get my fruit intake up. You know what I mean? So I actually have been buying a lot of watermelon. That's why I asked the question. But here's what I do. I go to the place that might not be smart where they cut it in half. And they wrap it up and they're probably selling it for double the price and the whole shebang. So I just buy the half portion and just keep it moving. That way at least you can see what you got cooking. You know what I mean? Because you are supposed to have a watermelon with seeds. Am I right, Maynard? I'm going to keep leaning on you because you're a VA, so I'm assuming that you're supposed to know better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, seeds.
Do you eat watermelon, Maynard?
I love watermelon.
Seedless or with seeds?
Have you ever thumped the watermelon?
Yes. Have you ever thumped it?
Not really.
Okay, so you haven't. So thumping a watermelon does not make it ripe or not ripe.
It supposedly, if you thump it and it has a deep hollow sound, then it's full of juice and it's ripe. Also, if you
where did that come from? Is this because my grandfather was from Pearl, Mississippi, and I just thought that this was a down south thing?
Well, that's where watermelons grow a lot of. I imagine they have the best data points on it. But if you turn it over, so watermelons grow and they lay on the ground, and they were saying something like the yellower the portion that touched the ground is. The yellower it is, the more ripe it is.
I can't believe we're having a conversation about watermelon.
Mm-hmm. I love watermelon. Seed or seedless, don't matter to me. But it does. If you eat enough watermelon, you will be like, "Oh, I gotta pee," because it's very hydrating. So
I heard it was a little aphrodisiac too.
I'm unaware.
Now, is that what the side of hot wings or no?
No, flaming hot Cheetos.
Gotcha.
Okay, with the flaming hot Cheetos. You gotta wash your hands first, though.
All right, now we got that out of the way.
All right, we good.
Hold on, let me ask one quick question.
What?
When y'all were kids, and the watermelon used to be like oblong, like kind of a blunted football. Now they coming in like more like small basketballs or volleyballs. Like, what happened? Are we comfortable that they somehow have changed the shapes of the watermelon?
Because the seeds ain't changed.
Apparently the seeds have changed. Yo, when I was in Tokyo, they give watermelon as gifts to people, not for eating, just to give to people. And they're square, like boxes. Like, it's a perfect, you can get a watermelon that is perfectly square.
Really? So do you eat the gift? I'm assuming you eat it, no?
No, people, they say thank you. They decorate them, and then a week later, they throw them out. They don't particularly eat them.
Wow.
But they throw them out. But it was like, I had never seen a square watermelon before, but it was perfectly square. I'm just curious what happened to the long, kind of
the big boys.
The fat hot dog looking style watermelon. Now we got the volleyball looking watermelon. And I don't know how I feel about that right yet.
It's evolution.
Yeah.
Everything is not the same. We're growing.
Okay.
Okay. I know we got some show notes, but I just have one more stupid thing to ask. So can we talk about homophobia?
Let's.
Are either of you homophobic?
I don't want to be homophobic. I try not to be. I'm not perfect. But
so what would you consider to be homophobic in your view?
Or who or what?
Like if you're saying, you don't try to be, what is the part of the like, that is homophobic?
On TV, when I see two men kiss, like that's too much for me. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see two men involved with anything sexual.
So the Lil Nas X video that Lamont sent us, you have a problem.
Oh God. I got through like the first 20 seconds. I was like, okay, that's too much. When he was doing the bongo on the boy's butt, too much.
I didn't even see that part.
I had to cut it off. It's like 30 seconds, and I was like, why? Why so much? Why?
That nigga said, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to say nigga, are we? But this nigga said the bongo on the butt.
And then throwing money on it. And the boy, too much. Too much.
Bongos.
And here's my question. Why can't he be... So... you want to talk about homophobia, you go with that.
So I'm again, this kind of, goes into, and I'll go into the homophobia part, but, this kind of, I guess is an extension of the conversation we had about the BET Awards when Lil Nas X actually, kissed a man on TV, and we were talking about, parental supervision and, parents allowing their kids to watch the BET Awards, seeing two men kiss. And then now all of a sudden you see this video with Lil Nas X, and you have, men, dancing naked, and they, they're swinging, and, the whole 9 yards. And it kind of, I guess, goes into this whole thing of, you know, and I saw a little bit of the rolling out, I guess, controversy with the baby, and he was basically saying, you know, if you're not giving head in the parking lot, and, you know, and he got this whole homophobic controversy, and then T.I. got into it and so forth and so on. And I'm just curious, you know what I'm saying, to know what about, you know, I don't know, I guess about what homophobia really is all about and where you draw the line at.
So can I read this real quick just to make sure? It said homophobia is defined as fear, hatred, discomfort with, or mistrust of people who are lesbian, gay, or bisexual. So by definition, no. I also don't think that Maynard is homophobe or has a homophobic view. I think what it is, because it talks about the person. I think the act of whether it's playing the bongos or, you know, like I was listening to Du Bois Watkins, and Boyce made a very valid point that, and I know a lot of people don't really talk about this, especially people from the LGBTQ community. There are a lot of them, they don't like what Lil Nas X is doing. You feel what I'm saying? Is that, you know, there's a, you know, he went online to talk about, you know, how he's bringing awareness to black male imprisonment and things of that nature. So my question is that the way you bring awareness to it? Is that the way you bring awareness to, you know, even homosexuality? And then you throw these words, these words like homophobia to bully people. You know what I mean? To just like the racist word, like if you throw the word racist, it's like throwing a dart at somebody. You know what I mean? Like, and I think homophobia is a word that they're starting to use, as Auntie Karen on TikTok says, it's used as a weapon. It's a weaponized word now. You know what I mean? Because if you accuse somebody of that, and it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And that's not really what it is. I think Lil Nas X is a person. We don't know dude. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he like. We don't know him as an individual. All we know are these little clips and 2-minute videos that we get of him trying to shock the world and not really, you know, show that he's an artist. You know what I'm saying? And let the music speak for itself. So I don't think
the song is dope and the video is dope from an artistic perspective. You know, I mean, from a personal perspective, I mean, I don't care for it, but
so
I mean, as far as you know,
so wait. So you telling me that 15 dudes, whether they homosexual or not, with their meat hanging is dope and it's blurred out?
No. Again, from an artistic perspective, in regards to how it was shot, you know what I'm saying, the editing of it, the technicality of the video, the coloring, all of that other stuff. Yes, the content of the video I don't care for, but the actual visuals of no, that's not right. The actual, you know, the cinematography of the actual video is dope, in my opinion. Right. But, you know, do I want to see the content? No.
And again, my beef is also, and Maynard, it's not the Congo, but it's also subliminally, what does it say about the jail piece? You know what I mean? The majority of the men, whether they be homosexual or not, or the majority were black men. And I noticed that DJ Drama and Jack Harlow and his crew, they made sure that when his part came in, he had a woman in there with her butt hanging out. Did you notice that? The policeman. He made sure that was part of the piece.
So this is what I've decided that in my mind, at least, that there are 4 things that black people can be in pop culture. We can be angry. We can be violent. We can be the very kind of innocent, nice guy that's like the sidekick dude, like he's the friend, but he's never a star. Or we could be hypersexualized. Now, if we're going to be stars, we can only be 2.
Is that the metrosexual, hypersexualized, metrosexual?
Hypersexualized, meaning that either we as our heterosexual men who are out here having sex with all the women, or we're mandingo or whatever, or we're black, or they're black women who are oozing sexuality and sensuality with certain types of clothes, or the earrings, or the nails, and the kind of kitten kind of talk, or we're homosexual, and when we're in movies where we're homosexual or involved with some gay lifestyle, we can't just be like a gay guy. Like, and there's this TV show that was called Will and Grace. Well, the dude Will was gay, and there was another dude, Jack, who also was gay. Well, Jack was a little bit more flamboyant, but Will was just like an attorney. He wore dress shirt like any other dude would. He was kind of straight down the line, other than the fact that he talked about trying to meet a man, trying to have find a boyfriend or whatever. You wouldn't know he was gay. But when black men are gay, they have to be the flamboyant gay. They have to have the lisp and that kind of these stereotypical characteristics of gayness that aren't necessarily true. It has to be the broken-wristed, pink dressing, and I'm wearing a pink shirt tonight. But whatever, the boa feathers and all that, and I just feel like it's. I don't believe. I believe that Lil Nas X, Montero, is probably gay, enjoys his boyfriend or boyfriends or whatever he enjoys. I don't believe, particularly that first video, the Call Me By Your Name video, with all the images that were involved with that's not him. That is the industry saying, we have a vessel that we can put all these ideas of homosexuality in black men. We can put that into his vehicle and he will take and run with it. Because first of all, the artistic pieces that were involved with that were just over the top. Like who draws that up? Somebody had to be, Lamont, you would be the first to say, the days of $700,000 music videos are over, right?
Man, let me tell you something. And this is somebody that I know very well. Well, not even a radio piece, but in the production of that video, at the end, there's a whole bunch of names on there. There's some names I know for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? So that was really a well-produced, it wasn't Puff Daddy Victory with Busta back in the day. And you know what? Let me take that back.
No. There was a lot of CGI in that.
Let me take that back. Hold up. Because at that time, that video was a big deal because it was an M. That was 500 to 600 or 700. Easy. To make that. Easy. At least 600, 700, maybe. You did it all in one day.
Now, let me tell you something. Call Me By Your Name, 3.5 million.
Come on, dog.
I'm letting
you can't. In today's times of
nobody spends $3.5 million on the video.
Nope.
70,
in order
80,
to get approved,
$300,000 is a lot of money to spend on a video right now.
Yeah. So you said Call Me By Your Name was 3 million?
3.5 million.
That's what I'm saying. So this is way above, and again, this is and people that don't understand the record business, this is not about a 20-some-year-old kid who is homosexual and he wants to empower it. No, this is way bigger than him. This is bigger than him. And you know what? One thing I just want to add to what you said, Maynard. You all remember when I sent y'all that clip of the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Santa Claus? Remember that? The other week? And for everybody that's listening and watching, there's a commercial by Dunkin' Donuts. There's a beautiful black woman who was a wife. And the gist of the commercial is that I guess Santa Claus came in December to drop off gifts, and he stayed because they had great coffee. They had Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And it was just really interesting to me is that the man of the house didn't look like me or Spud or Maynard. He was a white guy. Now, you love who you love. I get it. I'm not tripping. But it just seems to be like what you just said, Maynard. Like, we couldn't have a black man in there drinking coffee with Santa Claus. I mean, it's like, if it's not on the pimp or the rob or the steal or the, like you said, the That guy that has to be flamboyant. And again, I know plenty of gay guys, black, white, Puerto Rican, and they don't rock out like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's two guys, as I'm sitting there thinking about, they're good friends of somebody else that we're good friends with, and they can bench more than all of us. They can probably run. I mean, these are just regular dudes, but they are both husbands, and they mad cool. One is a doctor, one is a lawyer. I mean, and these dudes is like, well, you know what I'm saying? It's like, they even made comments before about like, yo, what's up with this guy? You know what I mean? So I just know as a community overall, I know things are very diverse. Like in the black community, there are different ways of looking at things. But this kid right here, he has no idea that he's being, like you said, man, you hit the nail on the head. And he's being used for an agenda that's way above his pay grade. Way above. Period. And that's just what it is.
My thing also is that there's another piece here that I'm certain that there are lots of men who have went to prison and said, this is not what it's like around here.
No.
Ain't nobody running around here dancing and prancing and doing all this. We you know what I'm saying? So, yo, I'm not, listen, I have friends who are gay. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to say, oh, my best friend is gay. So I'm not here to say that I'm the most progressive person and I know everything there is to know and I'm super sensitive to all their et ceteras. I'm still struggling with, you know, all kinds of old conventional shit, right? I'm not the new talk, the cisgender talk and blah, 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 all these things that have come. I'm still learning. But I see what's happening and I'm 100% sure. And I have a friend who comes on, she comes and listens to the show, and she's always trying to tell me, oh, it's okay when, no, it's not okay. Tip drill, that was not okay. Wow, that's not okay. We have got to not be hypersexualized and always thugs and always angry. We have to stop because that's not who we are. I ain't angry at nobody. Yes, sir.
But when we would go to the clubs, that was okay for tip drill, right?
All tops down, 10 o'clock. All tops
Yeah. Top of the hour, all tops down, all tops down. Finale.
That was behind closed doors.
Okay, no, I get you. That's what I'm saying. Listen, Maynard. And here's my whole thing, and I'll say this, and I know Spoil wanted to go in a different direction, is that I think
actually was segueing right into, you know what I'm saying, the question that I have. Go ahead.
I just think whether you're hetero, homo, tri, poly, whatever it is, we need to get out of people's bedrooms. I mean, like when do we go back to? Because I'm really curious about who is Lil Nas X as a person. Like what are you about? Like, let's talk about, and not that it's good, bad, or indifferent. Like, I know you had challenges with your parents. Like, are you a family guy? Do you plant flowers? Do you like?
We don't care about that shit. We don't care.
You said what now?
We don't care about that. We don't care about that.
No, you can't say that, man. No. There are 25 million people that follow him. Some people do. They may care to know.
Listen, hold on. Wait a minute. You have been aware of a man named Sean Carter, also known as Jay-Z, since 1990 something. Is that right?
Yes.
You've worked records that had his name on the face of it. Is that right?
Yeah.
You have a very good, we all know some good people who work over at Rock Nation.
Yeah. Shout out to Big D. We got to give Big D a shout. Go ahead.
How many Jay-Z albums would you say that you haven't listened to?
Every last one he's ever made. If it got his name on it, I got it.
Right. How many times were you concerned that his mother was homosexual? Until 444 came out 2-3 summers ago.
Well, see, you also got to understand this, Maynard. And see, we come from a different era where we focused out on the music and it wasn't about the antics. You know, we didn't know that Luther.
That's all we should be caring about is the music.
No. But that's what I'm saying. That we're in a different era. Like, we didn't know until Luther went on Oprah stage that he used to eat hamburgers with Krispy Kreme donuts on the outside. We didn't know that. We didn't care. We just wanted to be like, how?
Should have cared about that.
Yeah. Wait. And I saw that online the other day. I was like, oh my God, they need to. That's a violation. But we from a different
how they
era.
even get past the health. How do they even get past the health department?
Right? Who approves that? Like Krispy Kreme and hamburger? No. So I'm saying you gotta understand, man.
Gotta put the bacon on there though.
Wait a minute, with some cheese, right?
Some cheese.
You gotta have
Only
cheese.
in America do we do that. I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, you don't go to China and they have like extra like, oh yeah, we have like, oh, the new Kung Pao chicken with extra Kung Pao. Like, you know, it's just Kung Pao chicken.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, but I'm saying, so again, Maynard, everything is about antics. And even again with this young man, and even some of these other artists, and I'm not gonna lie, I was dealing with something today, and I was like, oh, that's that record. Because they all using the same auto-tune. I mean, literally, when T-Pain said what he said online a couple weeks ago, all of these kids use the same plug-in. You feel what I'm saying? They all sound the same. So it's a different era, Maynard.
Because, by the way, on that T-Pain piece, if you have y'all watched This Is Pop on Netflix? That's where that came from. T-Pain talks about it, but it's a really good. You should check it out. This Is Pop has like it's like 6 episodes. 2 or 3 of the episodes are really good. Starts off with Boys to Men. Next episode is the T-Pain episode, and then I think the Swedish episode, whatever. But I think that for the most part, and T-Pain is hilarious. I had no idea he was that fucking funny. But I think for the most part, you know, we don't care about these artists like that because we know one thing. It's going to be 2 summers from now, and we're going to be like, Lil Nas X, man, that was something. It's a strong possibility he could just be gone altogether. Like, that's over with. It's a strong possibility he could have more songs.
I said that about Cardi B.
Cardi B might not have too many more summers.
Cardi hanging in there, dog. It's a wrap. Cardi is etched
Cardi's
into the
After
history.
that Fast 9, she's out of here.
She's out of here. She's gone.
You know, that's what we thought about this other guy. The thong man. One day, he was everywhere. And the next day, nobody want to hear no thong. No more thong.
Not really the same analogy, but okay. Yeah. Let me kind of get to where I was going with this. Because it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me as if you guys are saying this is, I guess, an attack on black males. And what's the word? Desensitizing black males?
Dehumanizing.
Dehumanizing, thank you. Black males. And my question is this just the changing of the guard? In the sense of, is this something, is Lil Nas X pushing the envelope to accept black men in this way? And is this something that we should be accepting? Are we just like the old heads at this point? Are we like, you know, the generation where we're in transition of where, you know, in the 60s, you know what I'm saying, before Stonewall, it was like, you gay, you getting rocks thrown at you. And now it's a common thing. And now where we're throwing rocks at Lil Nas X for the presentations that he's putting on, and this is something in maybe a year, to what you're saying, 2 summers from now, we're going to be accepting black men in this way rather than saying that we're dehumanizing black men. I ask that because, and let me just say this real quick, man, and I'll let you go. I don't necessarily agree with this analogy, but I was listening to a pastor this weekend, and he talked about our favorite argument of Ephesians 6, where it talks about slaves obey your earthly masters. And this is the first time I've ever heard, you know, this, because we've always had this argument. And he was basically saying that, you know, and if we all know, I mean, slavery was before America. It was during biblical times. I mean, slavery's been forever, right? And so basically his point was, from my understanding, was that was the time. and people did things based on the time, and that it's foolish for us to basically ridicule somebody for doing things during that time. All right. And so I guess I'm asking something in the same similar way. Are we ridiculing somebody for what they are doing, but changing of the time? I hope all that made sense, because that was a lot.
The floor would like to recognize Mr. Hayes.
So, and with all due respect to the pastor, because I've heard that and I've had the discussion before, and it's just interesting to me is that if we're basing just with that book, and this is different, we can get to Lil Nas X, because I also want to interject the name because I want to make sure I said it right, is Adam Leber. Adam Leber, who's the manager of Lil Nas X. Again, doesn't look like me, you, or Spud. But anyway, but this book that was written in biblical times, and they did certain things at that time, and how they moved and shook and did things, is being used in present day, and people are using it as a guide to live today. That kind of sort of doesn't make sense. Does that make Maynard help me, Spud? Am I off base a little bit?
No, I'd say this. The idea that we're going to say, well, that was during those times, and the times dictated, and that so on and so forth. But as you said, Lamont, we, particularly in America, because this is by and large a Christian culture, take these 10 commandments and say we're going to live by these 10 commandments that were developed in that time. In addition to that, Ephesians is New Testament. Moses is Old Testament. Moses went to Pharaoh and said, God said, let my people go because slavery is wrong. Moses went to Pharaoh and said, God said, do not hold my people in bondage. So we knew that slavery is wrong in the Old Testament. Old comes before new, right? So the old knowledge carries through to the new knowledge. But all of a sudden, because the people who were discussed in Ephesians were not the slaves of the tribe of Moses, well, slaves just be okay. Wait a minute. It wasn't good for Moses and his people, but for my people, it's okay. So I push back on that pastor and his thinking. Now, to bring it to where we are today, are we dehumanizing black men? And is that really occurring here? The answer is yes. We didn't see it before because we enjoyed the images. We liked Shaft. We were like, every brother in the 70s wanted to have a leather coat and, you know, be tough and, you know, be the black private dick who's a ladies' man and gets all the chicks. Shaft, right? Everybody wanted to, black men wanted to be that, right? Or when it was, fast forward to the mid-'80s, LL Cool J and big muscles and open shirt and a dangling chain. He was an alpha male. He was tough and he's bad. We wanted to be that. Fast forward to, you know, the Tupac thug life. Cats were out here screaming thug life. Being a thug is not being a man. A thug is different. It was either super sexualized or super angry or what have you. Although Tupac had his rationale as to why he was saying thug life, although LL Cool J had his rationale for why he was selling a sexuality that was, I'm bad. You know what I'm saying? I can do all of this. I can sleep with all the broads and beat up everybody and not be a lawyer or not be a doctor or not be an accountant or not be a guy who just cuts his grass and washes his car, because that's not cool. That's not sexy. That's not hip.
But that's subjective, Maynard, because you just said that being a thug is not being a man. Did you not say that?
It's not being a man.
Okay, hold on. So are you saying that the guy who went to Behold the Green and Gold and got his degree in microbiology and went and became a biologist, is that a man?
If he's not, what I'm saying is this. There are certain things that there are certain things that are a part of manhood. Running around and screaming thug life. We know that in pop culture, anytime they can otherize us, find a way to make us other than a man. That other is you a thug, or you a gangster, you a hood, you a criminal, you a crook, you're gay, you're some kind of mandingo sexual beast or whatever. They have found ways to otherize us. We accepted a lot of those otherizings in the past because we wanted to identify with those things. Many of us don't want to identify with the homosexuality, and that's cool too. It's just we have to recognize, yes, there is a hypersexualization. There is a dehumanization. In the first video that he released, the Call Me By My Name video, that's not necessarily his first video, but the other video, Call Me By My Name, if you remember, the lips were different. The lips had weird splits. He lap danced with the devil. The devil was in there. He had horns on, his eyes. Dehumanization. That's not how humans. That's not how humans.
Only other thing I want to add, Maynard, and again, I'm done. I don't want to talk about Dude no more. But here's what I do know, and you quoted that number, and you know, looking at all, I can almost guarantee you that when there's conversations about this young man and his creative, we're not represented in those rooms, man. We're just not. I mean, there are a bunch of other people who don't look like us, who don't have the same experiences, don't have the same history. They don't. It's just not the same, and they're making these decisions on this young man's behalf for him to put this into the universe, and it's just.
But I guess this is where I guess I'm going. Tell me the problem though. Tell me the bigger picture of what you see the problem is. I mean, I know the answer, but I'm just trying to get to, like, you know, when you see this particular type of behavior or videos, whatever, you know, artistic expression or whatever the case may be, you know, we're talking about as being, you know, we're dehumanizing black men. What's the bigger picture? Because what I'm trying to get at is this something that we are just going to learn to accept, or is this something that we have to fight back on? To Maynard's point, you know, you look back at Shaft and you look back at, you know what I'm saying, you can look at the Mac, you can look at, and there was a certain type of bravado and a certain type of element that you thought that a man was, right? He was strong, he was big, he was tall, he was tart, he was handsome, whatever the case may be. These are things that, you know what I'm saying, kind of gave you what you thought a man was. He was responsible, he took care of his family, blah, 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 blah. But as the times has changed, so has the men, so has the upbringing, so has the lessons, so has the role models, so has the examples. So is it okay for a 12-year-old to look at Lil Nas X and say he is a man the same way I looked at Malcolm X and said that's what that's what I identify as a man, or my grandfather as a man? I mean, is that okay in 2 summers?
Well, so there's a lot involved here, and I don't want to take this thing forever, but what does he say? Pretty much the name of the song is Industry Baby. And then he ends it with, I'm the industry, baby. I'm the industry. That's very telling to me that the industry, which we call show business or the music industry or, you know, Hollywood, whatever, is saying this is what we want. Now, there's a long story about what is wrapped up in things where white supremacy exists. And that's a whole other thing. But one of the things, two tenets that they always said, that one day they realized, oh, in this year, we're going to be the minority, white people. So what did they do? They said, well, 60% of all the abortions are of white women, of white children. Ban abortion. That way we can keep having babies. We won't lose our population. but at the same time stifle black and brown people from having children. And if the industry makes us think that homosexuality is fine, Lil Nas X is likely not to have a child. People who follow that pathway won't have a child. Now, does that mean that this mathematical equation of, making sure that white women are having children and that black men are gay and not having children is a perfect, like it all fits together? I don't know. But it's mighty interesting that these are the two things that seem to converge in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Just interesting.
So let me just and man, and I'm gonna ask you the question, but I think I'm trying to answer Spud's question. There is a such thing as urban planning, correct?
Yes.
From your understanding, what is urban planning, Maynard?
It's a civil engineering concept where, from my understanding, I was in fact about to actually register for this urban planning master's program where we decide how communities operate, how communities should look, how adding housing units, making sure that grocery stores, the other types of engineering where, traffic is concerned. How do we get people to exits? Do we have to add schools to, if you put 500 housing units and you program these housing units to be for, single families in their 30s, then how many children will they have? Do we need to add a school? That kind of thing.
Okay, so, and after this is another reason why I'm mad at you, Maynard and Spud. This adds into it, and I'm done after this. So last night I'm watching my man John Oliver. He comes back. He's been on vacation. He did a segment on land, and he went through a historical piece of the history of acquiring land in this country. Actually, he talked about this one thing that I knew, but I didn't really understand, and it makes me feel bad. In Detroit, there still is, something called the Detroit Wall on the northwest side of the city. It was like a dividing line that blacks on this side, whites on that side. And he went really deep into how, on a federal level, that home loans were not given to, the whole history of creating the red, the blue and the green, and that's where the redlining comes from, and blah, 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 blah. So I say all that to say is like, these type of plans, I know some people are very short term, but there are people that have an urban planning mindset when it comes to music, when it comes to certain agendas, when it comes to areas. And it's just history, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's what it is. So again, this 20-some-odd-year-old young man who happens to be a homosexual kid who really probably in his own mind thinks that he's doing X, Y, and Z has no idea of how he is probably a part of some sort of larger position. And that's just evident to me.
Or maybe he does know, which is even scarier.
He's not that smart. I'm sorry. He's 20-something. I know we want to put a lot of stock into thinking he's some great, wonderful artist, but I'm going to say this again. No record company in 2021 is spending $3 million on a rap artist. Not happening.
Okay. All right. What else is next?
I don't know. What else you have, man?
I talked to my. I took it way to the left.
I know.
I salute Nas X for having his creativities or whatever. I just would be just hopeful that this is not where our culture is going. I want
to late. Too late.
He said too late.
Oh, man.
Too late.
Shit.
No. He was selling chicken fingers for $50. Come on. He was selling chicken fingers for $50. The t-shirts were $100 and some were $125 and some were $150.
How many chicken
People
wings
were
did you get,
in
though?
the arena with no mask.
How many chicken fingers did you get, though? How many chicken fingers were there?
I don't know, but I know there was a
12-piece, 6-piece, 12-piece, 18-piece.
No, I think it might have been a 6-piece or a 6 or 8-piece.
Yeah, that's
from my understanding, weren't they selling like the air?
I don't know.
Somebody told me. Yeah, matter of fact, my daughter told me that they were taking the air and sealing it up And
You mean from the
selling.
arena? So can we tell everybody what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Maynard, what are
Now,
we talking about?
am I confused? So Lamont, so correct me. So what type of album is this?
Well, my
Is this a
dumb
rap
ass.
album? 'Cause I thought I was under the impression
everybody
that
needs to
he
know.
was
We're
no
talking
longer
about
doing rap
Donda.
albums. I thought he was only doing gospel albums.
And then again, I don't know if we said this. We're talking about Kanye West. and his
Kanye
listening
West's new
event,
album got Donda.
Donda, which is the name of his mom, who passed away. And he did an actual quote unquote listening party inside of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in the A-Town, which what I didn't know that Kanye was actually born in Atlanta. I didn't know that. I always just knew he was a Chicago kid, but I don't know about the air. I don't know. I don't know. I do know I was on Tidal the next day because they said everybody kept saying he did a record with Jay. I'm like, yo, let me see what they're talking about. I couldn't find the record. So I put the call in. Shout out to Brian Calhoun. I'm like, where the record at? Oh, man, it ain't ready yet. I can listen to it over the phone. I don't want to listen to it over the phone. Just tell me when it come out so I can listen to it. And it still ain't here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah, because the news now say he living in there.
Yeah, that he decided he wanted to get a studio. And I'm like, what?
He's doing so much. So
How much is that rent? How much is
Donda's due to be
daily
released.
basis for the Mercedes-Benz joint?
They said it was they had to throw him out.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't they got curfew? Union shit? Don't they got
Right.
And it was a soccer game, so he decided to go, onto the floor or into a bunch of seats, and they had to escort him out because I don't know why. But so it's due to be released August 6th. It's not one that I'm looking forward to. I haven't heard any of the music yet. But and I've never been the biggest Kanye West fan, and not necessarily due to the antics. The music is kind of like it's not where I am, and it's okay. But
I mean, man, it goes back to what you said. It's like it's not the train wrecks get all the attention. You know what I'm saying? And Kanye's a train wreck. And again, we can talk about the bipolarness or whatever it is, and I get it, I understand it, but it's just all over the place. Like, you can't tell people you got an album coming out on Friday. Well, maybe in 2 weeks. I mean, keep your little funky album.
but
How
He
about
do the
that?
same thing with He do the same thing with the Jesus is King or
Right.
Jesus is Lord or something like that, a gospel joint.
Right.
I think he recognizes that the media cycle is without him, and he doesn't want there to be a miss, right? So he did the Jesus is King, Jesus is Lord, that album, and that was what, 2019-ish, right? He had the Nas album was 2018, and he had an album out that same year himself. He did then he did the tour with the Jesus is King tour. Then he ran for president. Then he was like, wait a minute. Because who does a stadium listening party for a record that's not ready?
Yeah, but promo-wise, that was kind of dope.
But if it's not
It was
ready,
kinda
what I'm saying?
I mean, but when he was in Detroit, I went to the Jesus is King premiere, and it was on the fly. Like, it literally was. He did what's the thing he was doing? The little Sunday service.
The church
Sunday
thing,
service,
right?
right.
He
Yeah.
did Sunday service that day. Called the Fox. This was on the news. Called the Fox. Got the Fox Theater that night and did the actual listening party that night while he was in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like 2 weeks prior. Like, it was like the same day.
Right.
Which
what
that
I'm
was
saying
dope.
is,
And the album was not ready then, so you were able to see it. The problem, and I don't know if the same experience happened in Mercedes-Benz, but I can only just speak from my own experience because I was there. You didn't get the full effect of the album, because after I listened to Jesus is King, I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, the remix of, the Clark sisters and Soul to Soul, and what I'm saying, the way that he did those whole things, even the original songs, it's a really great album. But I didn't get the full effect because the acoustics aren't there. It just isn't the same vibe when you are and for people like us who have been in the industry, who've been to hundreds of listening parties, when you have a more of an intimate setting, you get more of the album within that time that you're listening to it, rather than being in a big arena like that. Like I don't see how you can really get the full effect of that. But again, I'm only speaking from my own experience. But I don't know, man. I'm just surprised that people are still following Kanye the way that they do.
Right.
But here's the difference, though.
That to me is amazing.
I feel you, though, Spud, but the Fox is intimate compared to the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Right.
But again, if you and I went to a Kanye West listening party in our time, it would be at Envy, or it would be at a nice club that was only for maybe record industry people, street, reps, radio people, so forth and so on. Maybe a couple of, special invited people, tickets on the radio, like that. Not 7,000 people, or let's just say 5,000 people in the Fox Theater.
The Fox is
you can't hear it. The speakers are not there. The speakers are not the same. But compared to a Mercedes-Benz, oh yeah, that's like a world of a difference.
Right. It's like 40,000.
Right.
For a basketball game, it's like 20,000, 25,000. But for a concert or a listening party where you could be as close as you need to get, and you can get as many people in there, you can get 35, 40,000 people in there.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So Maynard, I'm slow on the draw, but can I push back on one thing you said earlier, back to the Lil Nas X, and even thinking about Kanye? There is one artist that I was talking to somebody about this the other day, that you don't have a lot of antics, that you don't have a lot of rah-rah. He just keeps putting out records and records and records and records. It seems like every other day, and you rarely see an interview, you rarely see him on the internet with the foolishness. Still is Chris Brown. So,
spend $100,000 on grills.
But not the foolishness of what we are seeing in other arenas. But Chris is still somebody that focuses a lot on his music and not all of the rah-rahness.
I don't know. Chris had a moment where rah-rah was his middle
No, that
name.
was a moment. That's over. Listen, Reed,
I'm not 100% sure.
That's
I'm
over.
not 100% sure. Chris is...
That's over. Didn't he just get a ticket for riding down the street on the four-wheelers?
He's still a kid. That's what kids are going to do. You know what I mean? He's not... You don't have his cheeks out.
I would have gave you J. Cole. I was hoping you were going to say J. Cole.
Okay, I'll go with Jay. I mean, there's a list of young artists. I'm just saying, I just always try to look for, and again, it's a lot of these conversations going around. Is like, when he say he's the industry, no, you're not. You're very small, especially of the urban, for the blacks, you're very small.
One of the things, now, if you go back and look at the song, one of the lyrics is like, he says, I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rap nigga, is what he says. I'm a pop nigga. He says he's Justin Bieber. That's what he's comparing himself to. So he's saying this is where the pop industry is. And okay, it may be in it.
White moms are allowing for their white daughters to see that?
Amen.
I
mean, is it that or is it Kodak Black?
But remember this. If you go back and watch like the old Little Richard doc, Richard said that he couldn't be they didn't want to play his records when he was Richard. But when he became Little Richard, they were like, he was a star.
Right.
So we talking about Little Richard back. We talking about, what's this, 2020? We're talking about 60, 70 years ago? The same play is happening.
Yes.
And this play ain't new. It wasn't new when they did it to Little Richard.
Come on now.
So this is what they want from us.
So
with that, Spud, I want you to go ahead and make your announcement about what you're going to do on the podcast from here on out.
What was supposed to do on the podcast?
Does you have to show us vaccination card? I mean, because I need to find out where we at with that, man.
No, I'm messing with you.
Are we carrying it with us now, or what are we doing?
We need to be working towards a vaccination card.
I'm sorry?
We need to be working towards a vaccination passport. I'm sorry. Were you talking to me or Spud? I'm sorry.
Either or. I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing. I got to get on the road this week and next week.
Mask
so I mean,
up, baby. The Delta variant is out there.
Delta variant is wild.
Shout out to my man Ty. He caught the Delta variant.
Right.
ICU. Get well, my brother.
Oh, he's just ICU right now?
Was, you know what I'm saying, the last time, you know what I'm saying, I checked in. So,
Oh.
Delta variant is serious. Mask up. Don't take this for granted.
Right.
Can I say something about this really quickly? About stupidity.
About stupidity?
About stupidity.
I thought he said liquidity.
Started with that.
Over 100 million people have gotten the vaccination. Today, something like 93+% of those people who are new cases with the virus are unvaccinated parties. We haven't heard that of the 100 million plus that got the vaccination, that 10 million people got sick. That 1 million people, that 100,000, that 1,000 people got the vaccination and became sick because of the vaccination. Heard a handful of cases, 500, 600, maybe 1,000. I think 1,000 is even a stretch, but okay, fine. And what we also are starting to learn is that the unvaccinated populations are largely in these red states, and people who happen to be typically conservative Republicans. Stop believing stupidity. We don't believe, for some reason in this country, that climate change is a real thing. But somewhere in America, the temperature a couple of days ago was 127 degrees. We're going to deny climate change until everybody's home is on fire. This is one of the hottest summers I can remember in my lifetime. California is always on fire. Have you, in the past 3 or 4 years, known where they were like, oh, the wildfires in California are gone? No, you haven't heard that. Not even in the middle of winter. They always have wildfires. We have to ignore, or we have to shun stupidity. We have to shun the idea that I'm going to wait to see how the vaccine works when I'm going to wait. I need more information. What the fuck, you doing trials at your house? You reading the damn literature and the paperwork? 100 million people got it, and you ain't seen 100 million people die, so let's start with that as at least something. And then we also know that 93 to 95, 96% of those new cases are of unvaccinated people. Wildfires, vaccines. You are asking to look at the election results in places that in Philadelphia or in Detroit or in Chicago, in Harris County, Texas, in Maricopa County, Arizona, where these people almost always vote Democratic. But because of stupidity, you're prepared to believe that the Italian satellites and the Chinese bamboo and the machines flip-flop the votes. Let us stop with stupidity. Let us reject stupidity.
Be stupid, though.
I'm sorry?
Some people just want to be stupid.
I understand that. But
some people just want to be rebellious. Some people want to be,
want that.
Feel like they want to be outsiders. And unfortunately, sometimes we just got to let those people go. Harriet Tubman couldn't free all the boys. I mean, all the slaves. You just got to be like, you know what?
Everybody ain't going to make it.
The problem,
everybody ain't going to make it.
Is that, if you just want to stick your finger in the socket in your own home, fine, do that. If you want to play Russian roulette in your home with your own gun and your own family members, fine. But when you go out in public and you're unvaccinated, in communities in, the highly Orthodox communities in Brooklyn, who, those Jewish families choose not to get the measles shot. And every couple of years, we get this measles outbreak, which is a disease that we've had control over. Or every couple of years, we get a polio outbreak. You are putting that's not you. You're putting everyone else at risk. When we want to refuse climate change until all of a sudden, California is going to be half its size.
Listen, man, it's been raining in Detroit like I ain't never seen before.
Ridiculous
it's been raining in Detroit. You like, wait a minute. First of all, it's July. That's first of all. Second of all, Yo, what is with the flooding in the streets? I'm like,
Yo.
what in the world is happening
The
in
weather
Detroit?
person reported that summer started in Chicago in June, and that never happens. Summer don't start in June in Chicago. It's like July 8th, and it's gone by July 15th.
Yeah.
It's back to fall by Labor Day. You already been putting on clothes again, like, oh, it's a little chilly out. So we understand that this is craziness. The vaccine portion, the information is right there. You don't have to be a genius to be like, well, you know what? Well, they putting microchips in the vaccine to track me. You carry a cell phone, you idiot. They track you through your cell phone if they want. And nobody care that you going to the Whole Foods. They don't give a damn. Nobody care that you stopping past the damn Goodwill to drop off some clothes and then pick up a couple of vintage outfits. Nobody care. Nobody thinking about.
At the end of the day,
you
know,
dumbasses.
At the end of the day, if they put in a listen, if they can find Osama bin Laden, they can find your black ass. All right, it doesn't matter if you got a microchip or not. All right, if they're looking for you, if you that important that they looking for you, they gonna find you. All right, it ain't gonna be. You don't need no microchip for that. All right, somebody gonna find you.
They put a microchip in me. Let me ask you, what they put a microchip in you? You minimum wage, whack ass, not paying your bill ass
Wait a
worker.
minute now. Wait a minute.
Like you said, if you were that important,
but why you gotta call
and
it
you
minimum
got off
wage?
your shift,
you
got off your shift at the Amazon, but they tracking you.
That's not nice. You now you're throwing shots at people.
Just saying, man.
All right, we out, y'all. Thank y'all so very much for listening. Before we get in trouble with Amazon and they don't be shipping my packages, y'all have a fantastic week. Be safe. Make sure you share this episode with your friends so that way our friends can be your friends and we all can be friends. We'll do it again on Monday at 7 p.m. 3 Black Guys with the Mic. Peace. Get that microchip.
Peace.